Hey, I'm Stian Weideman, and I wanted to welcome you to this Revelation Path training, okay? So the Revelation Path, what is it all about? It is pretty much how to recover, refocus, and rebuild as a businessman after divorce, okay, in record time, without losing your health, wealth, and sanity in the process. Super long title, I know, sounds crazy, but it's the truth, okay? It's a tough road to go through divorce. If you go through it on your own, it's even tougher. If you're surrounded by people that are not entrepreneurs and who are not guys, mostly girls, or your mom or anything like that, I don't know who you confine to, but these people will probably make it a lot more difficult than what it needs to be. Okay, you need to kind of be surrounded with guys that understand this, and I do understand, because 5 years ago, for the last 5 years, I would say, not just 5 years ago, but for the last 5 years, I've been struggling to figure out how the hell do you get back from this. And it took me 1,672 days to come to the realization that, holy shit, everything that's happened to me is because of divorce. I wasn't breaking some crazy mirrors and experiencing 7 years of bad luck. It was purely ways in that divorce changed me, and then I started acting differently without noticing it, and eventually I came to a completely different end result of and outcomes that I wanted. So what's this training all about? It's pretty much showing you what the path is, okay? The path to rebuilding, okay? That's the number one thing, is the path to rebuilding. So as you can see, this is supposed to be a webinar, as they would call it, but for me, there's nothing more in the world that I hate even more than just staring at a screen, a blank white paper presentation with black typing on it or whatever, and just watching that screen for like an hour, 2 hours, just a guy rambling on about this and that and that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it simple for you, okay? I wanted to do this face to face in a relaxed environment. I just tend to do my videos in my car because it just works for me. And that's what I pretty much want to do. Every now and then you're going to see me looking this way because I got some notes here on my laptop, all chilled out. This is a relaxed thing. It's a serious situation, but we're going to handle it with care and relaxation. Okay, so I love to just chill out and be relaxed. So what's my promise to you by sticking on this training? Pretty simple. Stay to the end, and you'll know exactly what the 4-step framework is, as well as the path and the framework that fits inside that path to rebuilding, recovering, refocusing, and rebuilding in record time after divorce. Okay, so simple as that. What I would definitely suggest is find a place now where you can just chill and no one can bother you, where you can relax and just watch this video. I'm going to try my best to get through this as soon and as quickly as possible, because I know you're a busy man. I don't want you to stare at my face the whole day. Luckily, we're not staring at a screen, just a blank slide screen, but let's still communicate and have some fun here. Okay. So one thing that I can tell you is, once you figure this out and once you understand that, holy shit, you might be 1 week away from your divorce, you might be 1 month away, you might be 1 year away, okay? It took me 5 years, 1,672 days to come to the realization that everything that happened to me was because of the divorce, okay? So if you're 1 month away, let's take a middle point there. If you're 1 month away, this could be your opportunity to finally get a path without even having to really suffer. You're going through divorce is suffering. I know, I understand that. Shitload of pain, anxiety, stressed, freaked out, frustrated, angry, suicidal, depressed. That was me. All of those things. And every single day I have worked towards this to move forward. Okay? And that's what I want for you. I want for you to be able to move forward as well. So that's what we're going to do. But without me rambling on anymore for the last 4 minutes, I want to jump straight in and we're going to start this training. So the number one thing, let me just raise this. So I'm going to write on this board as we move forward. It just makes it easier for me to write things out. So the number one thing and the problem that I see, that I experience myself. Now remember, whenever I talk about any of these problems, okay, or any of the strategies or any of these tools, I went through all of this. I experienced all of this. I took my own experiences from the notebooks since 2014 that I wrote down how I felt on different days, how I was pissed off, all these things. I took all of that, I dissected it, I took Bruce Lee's quote into consideration of, learning as many different things as possible, then taking what works and then applying that and just really leaving the rest. And that's pretty much how I got to this conclusion. So let me grab a quick sip here, and we'll jump straight into problem number one. So problem number one that I see and that I experienced myself, or that I made the same mistake myself, is rebuild. Okay, what we want to do is we want to kind of get rid of the pain. So what we think the best thing would be is to either just forget that whatever happened, take all that emotions, throw it underneath the carpet, and then just move forward. Kind of jumping into my business, finding another hobby, finding a way to release the pain through sedation, like using drugs, alcohol, porn, anything like that. Look, man, I'm going to be real with you. Let's be authentic in this situation. Like, those are the things that you think about. Those are the things that you go to feel better. Okay? You just want to feel better. But the problem with rebuilding, okay, and what I experienced myself, is that you get something called rebuild fatigue. Okay? Rebuild fatigue happens when you try the first thing and it goes well for a little bit because you're all pumped up and motivated, and then you hit the first obstacle and then you really, really struggle, and you kind of burn that to the ground. You get bored of it, you get frustrated, you just leave it. Okay? Then you go to the next thing, all pumped up, motivated, feeling better this week, feeling probably better for 2 days, doing that, and then that goes out the window. And then for the next 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 15 days, you can't get yourself out of bed, you're frustrated, you're irritated, you're struggling, okay? Then you get an idea, you get back into it, you get motivated, that goes for 2 or 3 days, and that goes out the window again. This is a constant repetition, and it's a problem because you end up getting rebuild fatigue. You get so tired and so frustrated and so beaten down because you just can't seem to get anything to work. You're a smart guy, you're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur. You know what it is to struggle, you know what the roller coaster is like, you know what it is to fight and continuously move forward. But if you are not operating on the same level that what you used to, then you will not get the same outcome. If I get in a car, the one I'm driving in now or sitting in now, okay, if I want to get to the mall, let's say 10 kilometers away, okay, how long is it going to take me? Obviously, depending on traffic, this and that is going to take me this long, okay? Let's take an example, 20 minutes to make it easy, okay? If I'm going to get outside, I'm going to walk, it's probably going to take me what? An hour, 2 hours, okay? Well, I would be amazing if I could walk in an hour's time on 10Ks. I'd probably say more like 2 to 3 hours, okay? What if I got in a helicopter and I got there? Okay, it'd probably take me a couple of minutes. So the difference is it's all in the vehicle. It's all in the path that we take, okay? So the path that I took originally was forget about anything else, just go straight into rebuilding. Kind of, I would say, wanting to prove a point, and I would say vengeance. Below the surface, there was some kind of vengeance and just wanting to prove a point. That was the thing for me. So I just wanted to go straight to rebuild and show, listen, yeah, you made a mistake. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to show you that I'm going to be a badass and you're going to regret ever leaving me. That's how I felt about everything. Okay? But the problem is with rebuilding, if you don't have the next thing, okay, and that's what we're going to cover in problem number 2. If you don't have the next thing, then it's impossible to go straight to rebuilding. It is physically impossible. You will continuously spin your wheels, end up in the same spot every single time. Okay, so problem number 2. And I kind of just touched on it, was that we want to rebuild, yes, but we are operating at a different level. We've got the different vehicles. We have the feet, we have the car, we have the helicopter. Okay, which one would you prefer? Obviously a helicopter. Maybe you used to perform at a helicopter level, but if you are used to a helicopter and you creating all your plans based around you being inside a helicopter, but you don't have a helicopter and you don't have a car and you only have your feet and you have to walk, do you think that implementing a plan for a helicopter will get you the results when you only have feet? I'm sure you know No, you will not gonna get there. Okay, so what we need, and the reason why we can't jump straight into rebuilding, is that we don't operate on the same level. We've already covered that. But why don't we operate on the same level? Why are things different? Why are we a different guy? Why are we a different entrepreneur, a different businessman? Because something vital, something super vital changed in the way you operate and who you are as a man. Okay? And that is, you do not have the same kind of certainty. You do not have the same kind of certainty you used to have. Okay? As an entrepreneur, as a businessman, okay, you kind of have a different kind of nature about you. Okay? You're confident. You know what you want in life. You are committed. You're willing to push through the tough times. You are willing to take risks. You're willing to take advantage of opportunities. Something that the normal employee doesn't necessarily do. They might, but they don't necessarily do that. You are conditioned to live this way, okay? But if the number one skill that you need to still get to that point is taken away, the helicopter is taken away, you will not get there unless you find certainty again. Unless you find certainty. So now here's problem 3, and which you are probably thinking of now, and it's understandable. I mean, you are probably thinking about, you know what, certainty, what a load of bullshit. And I thought about the same thing. One day I came up with the word, well, I didn't create the word certainty, but it was just a word that stuck in my head. And I started thinking about, I spoke to another guy, I remember, just hold on, let me grab another sip here. I spoke to a guy when I was in a coaching program, and we talked about the concept of certainty. And I remember his words. He still said to me, like I said to him, he was also a divorced businessman, and I just tested the idea, and I said to him, listen, yeah, if I could give you certainty as a coach, as a consultant, as someone that's in your corner, okay, if I could give you that, if I could promise you that, would that change everything for you? And he said yes, but I would think it's bullshit. I don't believe that you would be able to give me certainty. And that made me think, like, sure, how the hell do you get certainty? Like, you kind of just have it when you're an entrepreneur and you've been in the game for a while and you're a man and you work hard, you're committed, you have the confidence, all these kind of things. When you have that in place, it's so much easier to do it. But once you have to move back, think about martial arts. Divorce Dojo is built on the whole martial arts concept. If you've been a black belt for many years, you're kind of used to that level, okay? But now you move to different martial arts, okay? You get treated with different kind of respect when you're a black belt. This is a white belt. I'm sure you can agree with that, okay? So what happens when you get pushed back from black belt to white belt because it's a different martial arts? Now, the first thing you would think is, hey man, I've done martial arts before. I'm a black belt in martial arts. So in my case, Taekwondo. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. So I would say, you know, if I now go to Jiu-Jitsu, even though it's completely different, it is a completely different martial art. The one is standing and the other one's laying on the ground. Can I expect to walk in and be a black belt? No, I cannot. Okay? That's me only having feet but expecting to implement the plan of the helicopter. It's just, you can't. Okay? So the problem here with number 3 is, listen here, we need to find a way to create the certainty, okay? We need to follow a path. That's the most important thing. We need to follow a path that's gonna give us the certainty, but at the same time is also gonna help us to rebuild. Because isn't that what this is all about? It's about us rebuilding, okay? But we cannot just straight jump into rebuilding. We can't just get to the mall. Like, we would love to get there. Like, a mall is probably a shitty example for a guy, but just bear with me. You want to get to a game, an NFL game, whatever it is, okay? But you want to get to a certain destination, but you don't have the same kind of tools you used to have, okay? What we need to do now is first discover what the tools are. Once we have those tools in place, we can start using them on a specific path to get us where we need to be. That's what this is all about. Create the certainty, take that certainty, implement it in a certain way on a specific path that will get us to the end result of what? Rebuilding after divorce. Okay, so let's jump straight into this specific topic of certainty and what I call the revelation path. Okay, looks like I'm gonna run out of water here today. It's freaking hot. Okay, so how do we firstly, or what's the path we need to follow first? Okay, there's a simple 3-step path. We know what the end result is. I'm gonna put the last one here. Okay, so we know what this last one already is, and that would be rebuild. Okay, so we have rebuild. That's what we're looking for. That's the end result we are looking for. Okay, but what we need to do before that is another thing. Okay, we need to actually refocus. Okay, we need to refocus before we can rebuild. Okay, why do we need to refocus? Because things have changed. Okay, what you probably wanted in the past doesn't necessarily mean you want the same thing. Story from my own experience was that I built a gym. I wanted 100 affiliates in South Africa. That was the plan for me. We were doing really, really well. We had a great system. We were helping lots and lots of people. The divorce happened, and suddenly I was like, oh shit, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to build this business anymore, because I didn't have a why. I didn't have a purpose to building a specific business. And in that moment, I just kind of felt like it was too much effort. It was just too much effort. I couldn't deal with it because I was tired. I was frustrated. I was angry. I was pissed off. I was irritated. I didn't want to now think about suddenly creating this massive business. I just wanted to feel better. I wanted to understand, why did my wife leave? Why does this hurt so much? Why am I struggling so much? Why am I suddenly, for the first time in my life, outside of martial arts and sport, experiencing anxiety? Like struggling, frustrated, pissed off, irritated, all these kind of things consistently. So what I needed to do is I needed to get a point to where I needed to refocus and say, listen, yeah, is this still what I want? And you know what I did? On the one side, I said, no, it isn't, but I kept on doing the same thing. What ended up happening? I got desperate. I made a massive mistake. I lost my business. Okay? Because I wasn't focused on it anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. Okay? But before we can refocus, there's one thing we need to do before that. And I'm actually going to probably mess this up with size, but let's just do it. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to recover first. We need to recover by understanding what is going on, okay? By dealing with the situation. And that's kind of why I created the white belt series. And I'm just gonna make it nice and big here. We'll say this, and I'm just gonna put a WB just so you know. So if in some cases, if you didn't go and watch the white belt series, in that I kind of show you how to deal with reality, okay? Because we got to deal with the reality is that, hey man, I'm not married anymore. I'm now a divorced man. People will treat me differently. Friends, if you had joined friends, in my case, all of them just threw me away. Okay, fine with me now. Possibly weren't the best friends either, and that's what I realized. So I kind of am happy that happened. But in that tough times, it was really, really tough to think that everyone's just leaving me on my own. Okay, so you need to firstly recover. Okay, and you do that by facing the reality. If you go to the white belt series, you can go through some of the tasks, action tasks. You can do that there. Okay, once I've recovered and I've dealt with the reality, okay, and I understand that, listen, yeah, I can't just put this behind me. I need to look at what part I played in the divorce. Okay, I also got to look at you know, where am I currently at? Where am I lacking? If this happened last week, you're in a great position, because you can stop any of the things happening, all the negative effects of happening very, very soon. But if this has been going on for a couple of months, even a couple of years, then you're in trouble. Because the longer you let this go, the more difficult it gets to fight back. Believe me. Okay, Waiting 5 years to come to a freaking realization that everything that I lost was due to my divorce makes life so much more difficult. That's 5 years of momentum in the wrong direction. I got to stop that momentum, turn it around and move it that way. Okay, that makes it really, really difficult. Okay, so once I've done that, I've got to refocus. Okay, refocus on, is this what I'm currently doing still what I want to do? Okay, and is there anything that I'm doing on a specific day or on a regular basis that is moving me in the wrong direction? We got to change those kind of things, and I got to kind of create a picture of what it is that I want going forward. Another example from my own life would be, I went from thinking that I'm being a perfectionist, to be honest with you, inside a gym, always wanting to shoot fancy videos, getting fancy intros done and that, and I still love those things, but it's held me back so much. And when I was on top of my game, those things didn't faze me too much. When things were difficult, I would just grind through it. But having gone through this experience, having created momentum in the wrong direction, I now have to take it much, much easier on myself. I need to find ways to adapt so that I don't fall off track. Because if I try and attempt too many things at once, okay, I will start going back into the wrong direction. So what am I doing now? I'm sitting in a car in a parking lot, okay, not having done any slides, looking at my laptop every now and then, having a stupid little mobile whiteboard that I write on. And that's how I love training now, because I'm comfortable. Okay, it's easy for me to shoot these videos, it's easy for me to give you this training, instead of spending hours and days on doing slides, which irritates me in any case and bores me to death. Okay, so those are the things that I needed to refocus, and I am in my own rebuilding phase. And rebuilding, I think, never ends, because you're constantly expanding, you're constantly looking for something new, you're constantly wanting to move to the next level. Okay, and the only way you can do that is by slowly but surely, once you have that certainty in place, you can start rebuilding and working on different areas of your life. Okay, one at a time, create momentum in the right direction, and from there end up getting what it is that you want. So you understand the path now. If you went through the white belt, you know what reality it is. Okay, the reality of where you're at the moment. Okay, then first step is we need to recover. We started working on that inside white belt. Okay, it's recovering, looking at a couple of things, but after that we're gonna go to refocus. Okay, we got to refocus, know what it is that we want going forward. After that, we can only jump into rebuilding. That's what we want to do. We want to ultimately end up rebuilding. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to show you what this 4-step framework is for certainty, and I'm going to tell you a couple of stories of how I got to this. I'm going to try and keep them short and sweet, okay, to make them simple, but you know how I got to the point of understanding and listen, yeah, this is the path I needed to take, but I couldn't just go straight to that path because I needed to recover, I needed to refocus. The only way I could do that is by building the certainty again for the man who I am today, not for the man who I was in the past. We are completely different human beings. We are completely different entrepreneurs, businessmen, and the way we think is completely different. Okay, so that's what we needed to do. So the certainty for me was a thing about, like I said to you earlier in the story, I didn't know what does certainty even mean. Like, certainty is bullshit and you can't create it. Yes, I can understand that. A lot of people would say that, oh, certainty, like, that's crap. How can you get certainty? No one knows what the future will hold. Yes, that's true. No one knows what the future will hold, but you got to have certainty in yourself. When you have certainty in yourself, life becomes a lot easier. Okay, you have the things that you need in place, and once I put these on you now, you will understand what I mean. Okay, it is actually so stupid simple, yet we don't think about it, and at the same time we don't have the tools and strategies to implement each area of the framework. Okay, and I've spent years and years and thousands of hours and dollars trying to figure this crap out just to make myself feel better. Luckily, I'm in a position now where I've managed to do that, and I can now share this with you. As easy as that. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is certainty. So at the center, I knew that that was the goal. At the center, this is what we were looking for, certainty. Okay, and I've learned about frameworks over the years about, getting all this information, trying to create a framework that makes it simple to understand. And once you have a couple of words in place, and preferably words from the same letter, if you can have, like, I just think that way, if you can have that, then it's easier to understand a topic. It's easier to explain a topic to someone else, and it's easier to implement that topic in your own life. So I knew certainty was at the center of everything for me. And for me, the first thing, I looked back at my martial arts days, okay? And one thing that I really had during my martial arts days were confidence, okay? Like being in good shape, feeling good about yourself, being able to kick someone's ass, but not trying to just be like a dick, to be honest with you. Don't being a dick. You're just trying to help someone else, okay? You're trying to defend yourself, or you're trying to defend someone that you love, and that's the reason why you can beat up someone, okay? That's the reason why. Not just going out there and looking for fights, because that's just being an idiot, okay? So the number one thing for me was confidence. I had so much confidence when I did martial arts, okay? So I knew that that's what I was going to try and do. I went back in 2018, like a month before my birthday. I started martial arts again after taking a bit of a break and moving down to Cape Town and all these different things. I went back to martial arts, and for about a month, the day before my birthday, the 26th of March 2018, I cracked 4 ribs. 4 ribs was shot, absolutely shot, in a kick that I took. And I spent the next couple of weeks in excruciating pain. If you've ever cracked or broken ribs, you know how sore they are. It's difficult to breathe, it's difficult to sneeze, it's difficult to cough, it's difficult to laugh, all these different things, okay? So I broke or cracked 4 of my ribs, and that put me back. I was just starting to gain confidence again, and there I was back at square one again. So I started messing around with different things and understanding that, listen, yeah, I needed confidence. I couldn't go back to the martial arts because suddenly I was afraid. Like I never was afraid in the beginning, and I'll be honest with you, yeah, I struggled. I was afraid that maybe I'll get hurt again, and I can't afford to get hurt because I'm trying to rebuild in here. Like I'm tainted. Any small little obstacle feels like a massive obstacle for me. It never used to. So on a consistent basis, I have to try and manage things. I have to manage life a lot more intense than what I used to, okay? So with confidence, I came to the point that, look, confidence is a way. And I started with 5 minutes every single day trying to figure out how do I build confidence. I tried, like, look, I spent 12 years as a fitness coach. So what I did, and I had 3 different gyms. So I had lots of different clients, looked at training programs, looked at movements, exercises, training protocols, all these different things to find out, listen here, what will work to give me the best confidence, but at the same time, okay, at the same time, give me the confidence I'm looking for. I wanted confidence, okay? So eventually I got to the point where confidence was starting to work. And I started feeling better, and I was pumped up every day. But I was still not rebuilding. I would like confidence, I would jump in and say, rebuilding, now I can do this, I can start a new business, I can try this, I can try that. And I would fail again. I was like, okay, I got the confidence, I'm feeling good. Confidence is getting hammered a little bit, yeah, but I'm feeling better. I can handle it. But I need something else. Because it can't be certainty if it's just confidence, because then I could just call it confidence. That would just be super simple. So that's when I came up with the second concept. And in 2015, I was actually lucky enough to be invited to the very first Mindset Performance Institute's summit in Connecticut, okay? And I was actually one of the feature presenters here on this specific summit, talking about the topic of overcoming obstacles easily. Yet 6 months before that, then I actually went through my own divorce. And I felt great, and I was sharing my message, and I think the people kind of enjoyed it. But I didn't really know what to do going forward. I fell back into a hole when I reached South Africa, and I was faced with reality once again, because I had the confidence, you know, and clarity was the next thing that kind of made sense to me, but I didn't know how to do it. I looked back at the notes from the Mindset Performance Institute Summit. I looked at the notes from everything that I studied, and I started taking things out of there, like what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what is the idea of the ideal? Would we like to get there? But I'm here. I can't get there now. I need to get back at this. But what can I tie into the confidence? And like I said earlier, that was the clarity. It's understanding, listen, yeah, if I have confidence in myself, in my abilities, and now I also know what it is. Remember the refocus part that I told about? Okay, everything is intertwined. Everything works together. I realized that, listen, if I have the confidence to move forward and at the same time know exactly where it is that I want to move towards, then guess what? I'm getting to that certainty place. Things are starting to make sense to me. I think clarity makes sense. I started working on different tasks there, and slowly but surely I got to that point where I could say, listen, yeah, clarity is great. I'm doing really, really well with clarity. I'm doing really, really well with confidence. And I thought, you know what? Is that certainty? Clarity and confidence, is that certainty? Yeah, it is certainty. It's not bad. But then I thought back to all the days that I spent in the gym, you know, with all the different clients. And I'm going to just actually make this short because it's going to be easier to fit in here. Okay? I looked back at all the days, all my years as a gym owner and a fitness trainer or coach or whatever you want to call it. And I thought about, you know, what was the thing that people struggled with the most thing. Like, not exercise, not nutrition, none of those things, not even mindset. Okay? All of those things help. Definitely it does help. But without consistency, without the commitment, doing the small things every single day, without doing that, you will never get anywhere in life. Anywhere. As a business owner, you should know that. We have to be committed. We have to be consistent in our efforts to get to that end result. That's why we're trying to keep things as simple as possible here to make life easier for you to get to that end point, to get to that rebuilding phase. Okay, so I need commitment. So how would I now put commitment together? And I try to play around with different point systems. I went through different programs, coaching programs, looking at different ways. I worked for an online fitness company that was based around a gaming method. So I took all these different places and the things that I learned from them, and I put it into my own system, like a gamified system to show that, hey, I'm not saying I'm committed. I'm actually looking at the facts, and the facts are telling me, yes, I am committed. No, I am not committed. And because of that, you know what, slowly but surely I got into a place where this started making sense to me. I have the confidence. I know where I'm going with the clarity. I'm doing this consistently. On every single day I'm kind of doing this, okay? I'm getting closer to where I need to be. I have that commitment. I'm writing down my commitment on a daily basis to see if I'm not bullshitting myself, okay? And it felt good. At first I said, you know what, that's the certainty loop. It makes sense. It's a loop. You need confidence, you need clarity, and then you need commitment. If you miss one of them, then the loop stops and you're not going anywhere. Okay. If you have all three of them, they will go nicely and they will work well. Okay. But then came the interesting experience of working, or firstly not earning any money, and then working for someone else, being an employee again. Okay, being an employee again actually taught me a lot of lessons. I went through 3 different jobs in less than a year. One I left within a month, the second one I left within 3 months, and the third one I got fired from. Okay, because the number one thing, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. So there's one thing we need, and a lot of people refer to it as the king. Okay, if I was gonna have the certainty to make the moves that I want to make in my life, in my business, in anything going forward, okay, I needed, yes, it's coming, don't worry, cash. I needed cash, and that would complete the full loop or the full framework. If I had the confidence in myself to take on things, okay, and then I had the clarity to know what things to take on, okay, then having the commitment to stick to it even though it gets difficult, and writing it down to not bullshit myself, okay, and then I had the cash behind me to firstly live the way I want, to have the freedom that I want, and to make the moves that I want. Those 4 things together will get me to the point of certainty. As easy as that. Having those 4 things in place, the simple framework will get me to the point of having certainty. As simple as that. Okay. So what I want to share with you is one quick more concept. Okay, just one more concept that I want to share with you, and that is Rebelation. So I'm going to just write it here. I've always been a fan of rebel. Like, you know, the concept rebel. Just being different, thinking differently, all these kind of things. I've always liked that. Okay, I've always liked the idea. And it looks like it's getting dark. Does this make a difference? Nah, let's just do it that way. I've always liked the concept of rebel. I've tried different businesses during my rebel fatigue days. I tried many different businesses called Rebel something, Rebel Coaching, Rebel Art of Rebelism, Success Rebel, all these things. But I ended up with the word Rebelation. Okay. And what does Rebelation actually mean? Now, a couple of strong words that I use to define this word for myself, okay, and actually for you as well, is this. Firstly, whatever I was going to do, okay, it needed to, let me put this here, it needed to be powerful, okay. Whatever it was, it needed to be powerful. But what needed to be powerful, okay? For me to change and to move forward, and to ultimately rebuild, okay, I needed to undergo a transformation. I needed a powerful transformation. But like I said earlier, I wasn't competing or, you know, kind of performing at the same level as what I used to. Okay? And because of that, I needed to make things simple. So how would I get a powerful transformation? Okay? Easy. Well, not easy. It's simple. Through functional results. And that's it. That's what Rebelation means. It is a powerful transformation through functional results. Functional results means, once again, functional, simple. Very, very simple. Okay? Results. Being focused on, that's where that gamified commitment comes in. Being focused on the results. Results is the only thing that matters. Without results, you can't have a transformation. Without a transformation, you can't have a powerful journey and get back to the place that you want, which is ultimately rebuilding after divorce. Okay, so I came up with a concept and I built everything based around that. Everything that I created, the certainty, the certainty framework, the Revelation path, everything was based around a powerful transformation through functional results. That's what I wanted for myself. I managed to get that. Now I want that for you. Okay, so how do I get that to you? How do you get it for yourself? Straight, simple decisions in life is what's going to get us to where we want to be. As easy as that. Okay, so for me, what I went is, you obviously know by now that everything is based around martial arts for me, because I love martial arts, and it's just cool because you get to see the progression. Okay, so Samurai Certainty, that's it. The program that I'm doing and the guys that I'm allowing inside this program is firstly guys who are hurting. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're a guy that haven't felt the pain, you won't understand. This is going to be like a fly-by-night thing for you. You're going to jump in. You're going to be around for 2 weeks. You're going to say, you know what, this is not for me. I want to leave. I'll give you an example. I did a test with this where I took the program. I know this stuff works. I put it in a group for a couple of guys that I know for free. I said to them, guys, just go through this. Tell me what you think about the way I'm delivering it. I knew that the content was great, and I knew that the system and the frameworks were great. But I wanted to see if the delivery method worked. And guess what? No comments, no interactions, no engagement. I think half of them or 3/4 of them didn't even watch one video. Why? Because if you do not pay, you do not pay attention. Okay, so that's the number one thing. Samurai Certainty. What is Samurai Certainty? It's simple. It's the program that's going to take you from where you are, firstly facing that reality, then moving into recovering, then going to refocusing, then going to rebuilding. And if I had to make that simple for you, okay, you can only start recovering once you've achieved that white belt. Okay, at the end of this video, I will ask you to just send me an email, send me a message if you wanted to. If you've gone through the white belt series, you could send me a message or an email, and what I would do there for you is I will officially award you the distinction of white belt once you have proven that you've done the tasks, the action plans inside white belt training. Okay, so you can only start with refocusing once, or recovering once you've achieved white belt. Okay, after that, we're looking at the first part. Okay, you go to yellow belt, you achieve yellow belt once you have refocus. Once you've achieved yellow belt, you'll be able to refocus. Okay, then what we need to do is you need to get to that black belt level. Black belt level means that you have samurai certainty. Okay, the samurai certainty is the thing that's going to allow you to easily rebuild. If we don't have samurai certainty and we just have an average level of certainty, like we either have just confidence, we just have cash, we just have a little bit of commitment, we have a little bit of clarity, those little bit of things are not going to get us where we need to be. We need to be at a black belt level. Okay, now black belt level is what's going to get you there. So I'm going to go through this quickly because I want to keep it short and sweet for you. What is going to happen inside samurai certainty? Very, very simple. Number one, I'm going to keep these words short because otherwise, let me just actually rub this out here, because it's just going to make it easier for me to write on here. So the first one is, it's called the dungeon experience. Okay, and the dungeon experience is 28 days. Okay, so we're looking at dungeon experience. It's a 28-day deep dive program where you go into what the samurai framework is, the samurai certainty framework, or the one that I just shared with you, the certainty framework, and what you need to do, the different small tasks that you have to try out, implement, see which ones work for you, and adapt them to your lifestyle. Okay, very, very stupid simple. I promise you, they are stupid simple. Okay, that's the first thing you need to do. So the first 28 days, the first 4 weeks, week 1 we go through confidence, week 2 we go through clarity, week 3 we go through cash, and week 4 we go to commitment, where I'll show you how the gamified commitment works and how you put everything together. Okay, so yes, on the normal trainings, this is where you say, oh, this is the value of this is this much, and the value of that is that much. Man, you know what? You can decide for yourself how much the value is to you. How much is divorce costing you every single day? If you watch the white belt training, you will know that I came to the realization after 1,672 days. Okay, I came to the realization that everything that's been happening to me is because of my divorce. Okay, and because of that, I made a simple mathematical equation of $100 a day that lost in profit and production, and it came to the dollar figure of $167,200. That's if you're working $100 a day. I live in a third world country for now, which means it costs me a lot less than if you live in North America, if you live in Europe or any like those places. Probably going to cost you a lot more. So you decide that what is 28 days of deep diving into how to create certainty so that you can ultimately and finally rebuild. How much is that worth to you? Go work out what your daily figure is, how many days it's been since you got divorced or since you got separated up until now, and choose a dollar figure that you would probably earn every single day, and then just multiply that and see what that number is so far. Every day you sit back and you wait, it will increase and it will get more and more and more. Okay, so then obviously if you do the dungeon experience, you're going through that, then I know I can offer you and I can give you the distinction of yellow belt. Okay, I'm not going to write it here. Yellow belt would be great because that's the next level. So then what will also happen during these 4 weeks, okay, one thing I've always hated with programs and consulting and coaching programs and this is a guy like me being out there delivering the content, sharing his message, sharing his story, you know, connecting with you, and then when you join the program you get pulled over or you get pushed over to someone else that's going to do the work for you. Okay, someone else that's going to work with you, and you never even touch base with the guy that you kind of felt connected to. Okay, so for me the next thing is, I call it sparring sessions. Okay, that's where you and I are going to jump on the call and we are going to discuss the week's topic, and we are going to look at the 3 different things that you can possibly implement, and you're going to try them out, and you're going to give me feedback, and you're going to ask me questions, and I'm going to tell you how it applies to your life and how we can adapt it if necessary, and I'm going to hold you accountable. You're going to have access to me, I'm going to have access to you, and that access will help for the accountability, and that access will help us to assess where we are and to help us to move forward at the same time. Okay, so sparring sessions, once again, you decide how much that's worth to you. Having someone that's gone through a 5-year journey, spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands, I promise you, and hundreds and thousands of hours struggling in pain, wanting to drive off a cliff, committing suicide because he was so frustrated and depressed. Okay, that's me, that was me. I went through all this shit. Okay, having someone in your corner, how much that's worth to you, you decide. I'm not even going to tell you, you decide. Okay, then after that, all of this happens inside what I call the certainty chamber. Okay, so once you're finished with the 28-day program, you'll still have access to everything inside the certainty chamber. It's like a membership site where I put all the content to make it easy for you to access off your phone anywhere you are. Maybe you're getting stuck with something specific and you remembered you saw something in a video. You can always go back, just watch the video on your phone, sitting at the airport, wherever, waiting for someone to come to a meeting. You could just watch the stuff, makes it easier for you. Okay, so that's inside the certainty chamber. And once you have gone, and I'm not going to go deep into how you would do this because that's all covered inside the training, but once you have finished this and you've done certain tasks and you've shown the commitment through consistency, you will officially earn your black belt, which means now, once you have earned that black belt distinction, you have earned the right to start rebuilding. Okay, you have officially earned the right to start rebuilding. And to help you with that process, I have something that I created that I'm using myself, and I'm actually, I think I'm in the middle of a brand new one now. I think I'm on day 15 or 16 for this specific one, and it's called the 100-day rebuild. I'm going to share that with you, the 100-day rebuild of what you can do to rebuild a specific area of your life in the next 100 days. Okay, once you have that sorted, you can always add the next one, and then you can add the next one. Okay, making it super simple for you. I take all the guesswork out of it. I make it super simple for you to move forward. Okay, it's easy as that. Then what I'm also going to share with you is, or what I'm going to give you access to, is 365 days. Yes, a full year dojo membership. Okay, I'm just right there. A full year, 365 days dojo membership. So what happens in the dojo? The dojo is where I share more strategies, more tools, because now you have the certainty. You've created the certainty, okay? But once you have the certainty, you have to rebuild. And even though the 100-day rebuild gives you the structure of what you need to do, it's always great to have new tools, strategies, and systems that you can implement. And that's what we cover inside the dojo membership. You can only get access, you'll be inside there where you'll get to mingle with other guys and have access to other guys that's going through the same process as what you are. Okay, you'll have access to that, but you don't have access to the content until you've completed or you've achieved your black belt level. Okay, so that's what we'll have in there. Just some of the things I'm not going to be able to write all this stuff down yet, so I'm just going to share it with you. What I'm also going to share with you in there is the samurai sequence. That's what I use every single morning, taking the different parts of certainty, putting it into a sequence every single morning. I'm doing it like a robot now. I could be someone in the next Terminator, because I don't even have to think about it. I could just close my eyes, get to it, wake up, do my thing, move forward, and that's it. So I'm going to share the samurai sequence with you. What I'm also going to share with you is the divorced man's diet. Yes, when you're a guy that doesn't really cook, then getting food gets a bit difficult because you don't have someone that's going to make the food for you. I share what makes it super simple for you inside the divorced man's diet. I'm also going to share with you Marketing Monk. Some of the materials inside the dojo covers Marketing Monk. Okay, I've learned from some of the best guys in the world. Brendan Bouchard, Frank Kern, Russell Brunson. All these kind of guys have taught me a lot about marketing, internet marketing, digital marketing, creating my message, sharing my stories, all these different things. And every business needs some kind of marketing in a specific way. And I've learned from different aspects and different perspectives how to implement this in my own business. And I'd love to share those things with you and see how we can adapt that to your own business. Okay, that's one thing we're going to do in there as well. Then the 1-inch profit. If you're familiar with Bruce Lee, he actually did a 1-inch punch. where he was standing 1 inch from an ice block, a 1-ton ice block, and he could actually move it or break it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the 1 inch profit program, and that's something that I've used to quickly get up and running again and see where the holes are in your business. I'm going to share that with you inside the dojo membership. And then lastly, what we're also going to do is we're going to have weekly or bi-weekly, depending on where the guys are at, we are going to have the Octagon experience. Okay, what is the Octagon experience? It's very similar to the sparring sessions, where the sparring sessions is me and you working one-on-one and getting through personal stuff. The Octagon experience is just like that, what an Octagon experience would be like. Jumping inside with a lot of other guys and throwing in all your shit in there and seeing how you can adapt and how you can move forward, and guys holding you accountable and you holding other guys accountable. It's a shit show, but it's fun, because having a lot of guys going through the same stuff, there's bound to have certain stories come up that's going to make life quite interesting for us to share. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you. That's the program. That's Samurai Certainty. Okay, like I said, you decide how much each of that is worth to you. What I can say to you is, one more time, without the loss in assets, without the legal fees, without losing my business, all those extra things, I'm not taking those things even into consideration. Okay, it cost me $167,200 extra, okay, that I lost because I didn't have the certainty, because I jumped straight from the reality that I needed to face to trying to rebuild, skipping all the steps in between. Because I skipped all the steps in between, I suffered from rebuild fatigue. Every single time I will start and stop, start and stop, start and stop the whole time. Okay, so I would say the cost for me was, and even though it's possibly a lot more, I wanted to keep it simple from a mathematical equation to see what an ROI would be on the time I spent on divorce and trying to figure it out. Okay, with $167,200, that's what it cost me. But what it's going to cost you to jump in this program now? Yes, and I'm not going to bullshit. A lot of guys honestly did say to me that this is too cheap, because I'm offering not just one-on-one, I'm not offering just group, I'm also offering a full year's membership. Okay, it is quite cheap. It is. Why? Because I want to take 50 guys. I'm going to take 50 guys through this program at this price. Only 50 guys for 2019. Okay, I'm going to take 50 guys through this program so that I can get as many case studies on this program. I want to get as many as that, and that means if you're going to jump in on this program, I'm going to expect you to put in the work. I'm going to expect you to be serious about creating the certainty and getting the results that you want. Okay, because I need you to do a testimonial for me afterwards. I need you to show the world that, or the other guys in the world that are suffering, that they don't need to go through this on their own. They don't need to play Lone Ranger anymore. Okay, they need to start fighting back. Okay, and we need to fight. Everyone needs to fight back. So $2,000, that's it. Okay, for $2,000, if you think about it, 10% of $167,200. If I only saved you 10% of that amount, that would already be $16,720. $16,720. That would be the fee. Okay, I would say that $16,720 to invest and getting a return of $167,200, that'd be a great investment. You'd be a stupid business guy if you don't go for that investment. But what I'm doing is I'm asking you $2,000. Okay, and I'm going to go through this once again quickly. 28-day dungeon experience, where we go through all the different frameworks. Every single week we go through a different area of the framework for certainty. Okay, you'll get your yellow belt distinction. Private sparring sessions with me, where we dive deep into the certain framework or the certain area for that framework. We go deep into that. Okay, you will get all of this inside the certainty chamber. Just an easy membership site that makes it easy for you to actually access everything. Okay, so from there you'll get the black belt distinction once you've earned it in a certain way. I'm not going to go deep into it yet, but that's what you get there. You'll get access to 365-day access to the dojo membership, where we have extra tools and strategies once you've achieved the black belt status. Okay, I'm going to share some of the things I'm going to share in there will be the samurai sequence. That's what I use in the mornings to get me up and running as soon as possible without taking too much time. I'm also going to share with you the divorce man's diet. When you go through divorce and you don't have someone that's making the food, it's kind of difficult to know what to eat. I'm going to share that with you. Marketing Monk, all the different things I've learned over the years from Brendan Burchard, Russell Brunson, Franken, all these different guys. Spent hundreds and thousands on digital marketing, internet marketing, and different structuring of messages I've learned from these guys. I want to share that with you. The 1-inch profit. What is something that you could do to take your business to the next level within the next couple of days, or look for that specific holes that you can fill up in the next couple of days. Okay, I'm going to share that with you. I'm also going to share with you the 100-day rebuild method, and all of this will be done inside an Octagon experience, which is with the other guys that have gone through the program, that have created the certainty. Once everyone's created the certainty and they've earned the black belt, they jump into the group, and all of us work together to get us where we all need to be. Because you guys, you are going to help me as much as what I'm going to help you. This is a team effort. Okay, so I've talked way too much for today. I actually didn't think it was going to last this long. My throat is ridiculous. You saw it's really hot in the side of this car, but I'm happy that I managed to finish this training today. I'm happy that I could share this with you. So if you're keen to jump in and get going with the Samurai Certainty program, I would definitely hit up the button below. Get through that, get in there. Let me know if you have any questions. You can send me a message on Facebook, no problem. And let's get after it, man. I'm looking forward to welcoming you inside the program. What I can tell you is this program's not for everyone. Even though I know you're going through a tough time, and I'm not going to push you too hard because I have empathy for you. I'm not going to have sympathy. The reason why is because it's a tough place to be in, and sometimes we need to be pushed. But not be pushed by someone that doesn't understand our situation. Being pushed by someone that's gone through our similar situation. And I understand that, man. So I'm going to push you. I'm not going to fondle your balls. You can get a lady to do that. I'm definitely not going to do that. I will push you, but I'll push you in the right way. That's only going to bring the best out of you. Okay? I want to move you forward. I want to get you to where you want to be. I want to help you to recover, refocus, and rebuild. But you need to get that certainty first. The only way to do that is through Samurai Certainty. I can tell you now that Divorce Dojo is the only program or the only place on the planet where divorced businessmen can come back, or they can learn to fight back after the divorce. That's it from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, if you want to join, only 50 guys are going to jump in on Samurai Certainty at $2,000 in this year. Once we reach that 50, we are definitely going to increase that price. It's probably going to jump in to $5,000 because my partner is saying, or the guy that's helping me, working with me on this, he's wanting me to sell it for $5,000. So I'm just saying that to you up front. So let's jump in there if you're ready, and let's get going. Cool, man. Have an awesome day. Thanks, hey. Cheers.